Hey, what is up guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Gran Turismo 7. I'm going to do something a little bit more laid back in today's video, so treat it more as a kind of discussion video around a specific topic. And today's topic is of course going to be, when should we realistically expect to see the long-awaited update 1.51 update. So it's been a while since we had our last proper update to GT7, whilst the previous one was update 1.50, that was purely just a bug fix update. It's been around 2 months since we saw update 1.49 release, which of course was one of the bigger and larger updates we've ever really seen to GT7, and in typical fashion that does end up meaning we get a bit of a break between actual content updates. So with August coming and going in terms of a skipped content update month, I honestly think a lot of people were under the impression that we'd more than likely get one in September. However, this isn't necessarily the case either, so I have a few time slots to look at when we should really expect update 1.51. So the first time frame I have up here is September the 21st or 22nd, aka this exact weekend. Now, in the typical update format to GT7, we do usually see the silhouettes release the weekend prior to the final Thursday of the month, which is of course the typical update day for GT7. However, this has differed over time. There's also the chance that the silhouettes may not even release. This is something that's happened before, where the update has come out on the typical last Thursday of the month, and the only time we've actually seen those vehicles come into the game were in a leak a few hours prior to the actual update trailer dropping. So again, going back to the I guess typical update day and the silhouette times for GT7, this weekend and next week would of course be the most logical one in terms of the standard format. Of course, next Thursday being the final Thursday of the month, and this weekend being the final weekend in the lead up to that final Thursday of the month. So I think the chances of this one are still possibly quite high. Of course, I'm releasing this video on the 21st, but again, we have that 2-day period over the weekend, both the 21st and the 22nd, where we will typically see them in a standard month. On rare occasion, we do sometimes see information on a Monday or a Tuesday. If it kind of gets past that point, I'd honestly be thinking, well, they might not even be one this month. And that's going to move me into the next time frame. Okay, the next time frame I have here is September the 28th or the 29th. Of course, that is next weekend, and of course we have the World Series then. So I do think the chance of this happening is much slimmer. If we look back to the previous time we had a World Series and an update reveal, it was actually announced prior in terms of the whole promotion for that actual round of the World Series. We've heard nothing of the likes in terms of this World Series showdown, and of course any kind of update information coming. This could be due to it just being a smaller update overall, which is something we're going to typically expect after a larger update. However, I honestly believe that the chance of this one is going to be much more slim, mainly due to the fact that they want as many people hyped up for the World Series than the update. Of course, if they went on to announce an update, that's probably all they're going to hear about, and then there's going to be really no one watching the actual World Series for it being a World Series, other than to A, either track their in-game credits, or B, of course, get those free cars from the viewers campaign. So in a sense, they've kind of put those campaigns out there to kind of get people watching the World Series, and then just put an update on top. They'll probably run into the situation that we saw last time when it was previously announced, with everyone just banging on about the update. Again, not really actually talking about the World Series. That is what mainly happened when we saw the update 1.49 trailer, where people just banging on constantly in the intros about when's the update trailer, and then the trailer dropped, and then for the rest of the World Series it was just people talking about what was coming in the update trailer. So I guess in a sense they might be a bit wary about actually doing that. Of course, it's still a possibility, but I think they're going to probably just want to focus on the World Series for that weekend. Okay, and the next one I'm going to pick is October the 5th and the 6th. So this is the next weekend after the World Series. Again, when the hype and all that lot settled down from the World Series, this would again be a good opportunity for them to release an early month update. We have seen this previously where it doesn't happen on the final Thursday of the month and it will actually happen towards the start of the month. Again, I think this one is much more likely than seeing an update kind of announced and the silhouettes released during the World Series. So I think this one has a much higher possibility, probably more in line with the likes of the first time frame, which is of course this weekend on the 21st and 22nd. So in terms of this one, it has happened previous where we've seen an update early into the month. Again, it does happen usually when the updates kind of get put out of line or there's some gaps in the months to kind of bring players back. Again, I don't think we're going to see a massive update, so I think maybe just kind of putting in a smaller update at the start of October and then kind of releasing your bigger content at the end of November and December of 2024 to get hype around the Christmas period would absolutely make sense. So I think the possibility of this is much higher than what we see if it would drop during the World Series, which I just don't think Polyphony will do. And then the final time frame I have listed, which is a logical one once again, is October the 26th or October the 27th, of course, of 2024. Now this would make it the final weekend to drop the silhouettes in October, with the final Thursday actually being the 31st, which is of course Halloween. So this one again would make sense for them to drop if they were going to just skip the entirety of September or the start of October, and then of course just push the update out, you know, at that kind of later stage, and again get it back in line with what the typical update times are. So again, the update could be even as far as a month away. Now in terms of this, do I think this is a decent, I guess, decision on Polyphony's part? Probably not. When we look at update 1.49, it's been a couple of months already, and I think the typical hype for that update is already kind of dropped off. Again, the physics changes are cool, there were some cool cars in there, we did get a new track and stuff, but in terms of the popularity of that update, it definitely didn't stick as much as some of the sort of previous bigger updates we've seen. So I definitely think this would probably be the wrong decision, and I think in terms of just pushing out a smaller update, releasing it sooner rather than later would just be the better option to get players back into the game and start preparing for some bigger updates right towards the end of the year, ready for the whole festive period, and again a chance to hype it up and sell more copies of your game. However, this is Polyphony we're talking about, and I think in terms of the probability of this, there is a high chance that they might just skip the entirety of the August and the entirety of September and then wait right until the end of October to actually release update 1.51. At that point, it's been 3 months. I think the last time we saw that was in November of 2023 when the entire Spec 2 update released, which of course was the biggest update we've seen, as well as one of the typical bigger updates we've seen as well. And then of course we did have a big gap all the way until I believe January, right at the end. So it was going onwards of nearly 3 months, considering Spec 2 released right at the start of November. So again, this is a pretty high possibility. We have seen it previous that when we get a big update, there's usually a bit of a gap of a couple of months at most, and I think again this is what we could see here, because at this point in time it will definitely be a good few months since we've seen anything relating to an update of GT7. So of course I'm pretty sure at this point in time that they are pushing their focus to Gran Turismo 8. I just wouldn't doubt that at all. Of course, game development takes a long time, so I'm pretty sure they started on it as soon as GT7 actually launched, or maybe even prior to that. I'm pretty sure GT7 would have been ready in that form for a decent while before they actually dropped the game. So I think in terms of the updates, they might sort of slow down now. They might become every other month even for the smaller updates, and I think in terms of the bigger overall updates, we might not see as many as we typically have. But again, if we look at some of the upcoming projects like My First Gran Turismo, which is again there to promote the full game, maybe not so much. I think they're definitely going to still try and promote GT7, still try and update it. However, when do you think we'll see update 1.51? Let me know in the comments down below. That's going to be it from me today. Take care, guys. Peace.